Welcome to the Comix Asylum Podcast, where we explore the world of comic books, movies, television, and pop culture in general. My name is Steve Bynoe, and this week I'm joined by artist Hugh Rookwood from Chozen Studios. All right, welcome to the Comix Asylum Podcast, first edition. This is our pilot, our first ever podcast, and we're going to be putting this up onto YouTube when it's all said and done. And I'd like to welcome a wonderful, amazing guest, Hugh Rookwood, artist extraordinaire.
Happy people.
So how you doing, Hugh?
All right, I'm doing great.
That's good. That's good.
Great.
How's 2020 been for you? It's been, I guess some people consider it a dumpster fire, but how's it been for you?
2020 has been great. 2020 has been good. It's obviously when it first hit, everything with the COVID and all that kind of stuff, it was a little reeling, right? I had a lot of projects lined up that were just canceled like immediately, because nobody knew what was going to happen. But slowly but surely things picked back up, and I've been, getting steady work coming in, which has been really great. It's been different, whereas I was traveling a lot to conventions and stuff like that. I haven't been hitting the conventions as much, but surprisingly, like still a lot of projects came in this year, and I got on a lot of cool stuff this year, and it's been really cool. So, it's just the same kind of hustle, just in a different way, with everything going on. Just have to kind of navigate those waters and try to come out the other side, stronger than you were before, right? So that's how I look at it. So
absolutely. And you've been doing fantastic work for years. Anyone who has been to any of the conventions, either in North America here in Canada or in the United States, has seen your awesome and dynamic artwork. But with COVID and social distancing and basically a full lockdown, there's been an interruption in the usual manner of business. And one thing about you is you've put in so much time and effort into building your career and getting connected to the fans that are out there. Your next step and what you're doing in 2020 is almost a logical progression of all the work you've put in.
Well, I'll tell you straight up, one of the reasons why I'm probably able to survive and navigate this water is because I've been doing it so long, and people know me, for the most part, especially through the circuit, right? It's been a while since I've been down to the States, really, and represented down there for a while. For the last how many years I was actually just really Canada stationary. But I've been doing this for such a long time. I've had a really steady flow of people who know me, and through this COVID thing, it's, the guys, they don't get to see me at the convention, and you know what, they've been hitting me up and like, hey, I have a project for you to do. Boom. Hey, project for you. You know what I'm saying? And it's been really cool. It's really nice to know that, you built up a level of, following that people are like still looking to get something from you, even within a situation like this, right? So it's been pretty cool.
And speaking of some of those projects, can we delve into what you have been working on and what's coming out or has already hit the stands in 2020?
You can delve into some stuff. We have like big project I did with Red Barn Books called John Ware. Howdy, I'm John Ware, children's book. That's doing awesome right now. Red Barn just won the New Publishers Award here in Alberta. So that's really huge. And, John Ware is up for some stuff, and I'm thinking it's gonna take a few of these. You know what I'm saying? It's been really a great project, and there's been a lot of great response on it. So, there's that. I've been doing a lot of variant exclusives with Big Country Comics, which has been very good. We just released two in the last little while, for the last month. One from Image Comics called The Department of Truth. We did a variant on that. Variant cover for that. That series is hot. Like, trust me, like, pick it up. It's going to be crazy. Department of Truth. And then we did I did a variant for the Transformers Back to the Future crossover book, and I did a cover with that. That one turned out really amazing too. It was a double page spread. And is it all right to shout out where people can get it and stuff like that?
Absolutely.
Yeah, so
no secrets on this show.
Yeah, if you guys want to check it out, you guys can go to www.bigcountrycomics.com, just as it sounds, bigcountrycomics.com. And they specialize in variants and stuff like that. And yeah, you can see a lot of my work there. I did a Red Nails for Blaze, Aurora Man with Jeff Burton's Aurora Man from Saskatoon. Dead Day #1 variant for Aftershock, which has been really cool. Vampironica for Archie Horror. I did a variant on that too. So like, yeah, it's been really wild year. Like I can't, the COVID thing has stopped me in the sense of getting around and seeing everybody, and I missed that part of things definitely. But I've still been busy, so that's been good, and as long as I can keep busy, I'm happy.
It sounds awesome. I want to get back to John Ware, because I can almost guarantee that unless you're associated with the project or it's a special area of interest for you, not a lot of people are really aware of who this historical figure is. Can you give us a little bit of insight as to who he was?
Well, John Ware was a slave, and from the U.S., right? And after the Civil War and stuff, got their freedom, he basically journeyed to Canada. And he was one of the first guys with the road crew that first brought cattle, longhorn cattle, to Canada, to Calgary, Alberta. And I mean, basically was one of the founding people who helped start that whole industry down here, and it's just an amazing journey of this man and how he came here through all the, still dealing with a lot of racism and, what I'm saying, bigotry, but still prevailed. He never lost sight. He became recognized as one of the greatest, ranchmen ever, and it's just phenomenal to know his story and important that people know who this character is, and Aisha from Red Barn Books, she approached me, and I was looking for an artist, and I was happy to do it, happy to get on. I knew nothing of the character coming in myself either, right? And it was a learning experience for myself. But to see that this person had such an impact on something that was so important in Canadian culture, especially out west here, in Calgary. Like, wow, I'm surprised more people didn't know about him, So, I mean, it's been really awesome to put that out there.
And I think that's one of the, one of the important things is that we have such a rich history here in Canada, especially with the Black community, but our stories aren't told. And I guess it's only now that we're starting to have avenues where our contributions to what Canada is now can now come into the spotlight a little bit.
Well, I had this conversation with somebody just the other day. I'm just like, how are, there's all this tension and, all this stuff going on, people don't like this and you don't like that and all this kind of stuff. But my whole thing is, how is people supposed to respect anybody else of any culture if they don't, and how is our youth supposed to respect themselves if they don't see themselves in the mosaic of everything that makes this country great? When you're born in this country, and it's like, well, what part did your culture have? And then you realize there's a lot of things that, you know what I'm saying, where even if you just take it from even the First Nations and what they had to what they've contributed and culturally and stuff like that makes up the mosaic of Canada. I think it's very important that everybody knows, you know what I'm saying? And as much as it's important for I guess, young Black kids and stuff to know this stuff. But I think it's important too, even more important for other kids, you know what I'm saying, that are, not, I guess, of the Black culture, but still, in within Canada, know this too. You know what I'm saying? It's even more so important for them to know it, because, how are they going to respect, how do you respect somebody, you know what I'm saying? If you don't, if they don't see you as something as that contributes to the whole greater makeup of things, like, how are they going to respect you? You know what I'm saying? If they don't see that, and how do you respect yourself? You know what I'm saying? When you don't see that. And it's like, I just feel like it's really important, I just think it's really, really important. So I was really happy to do this project. These are, for me, is one of my crowning achievements, I really feel like, yeah, I'm saying I left something, something for the kids, something for the next generation coming up,
And I've seen the book, I've read it, I love it. Your artwork is a departure from what we're normally seeing with you, because your artwork like screams passion and power. And this style that you adopted was really, really amazing, and it fit the story so well. What kind of a thought process did you go through to kind of shift gears a little bit?
Well, the whole thing is that when you're doing comic books is one thing. When you're doing children's books, it's another thing. When you're doing designs for video games, it's another thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have to, when you're working with whoever, you have to kind of talk and figure out what it is that you want, what they're looking for, right? Aisha approached me. This was her baby. Hey, I'm getting this book together. I'm like, okay, so let's look at style. So I did about, what was it? Maybe about 15 drawings or something like that, of just styles, of just John Ware. And I would just mess around with style, shapes, and looks, how the eyes would look, how the nose would look, how the mouth would look, how the shape of the head would look, how the, you know what I'm saying? Just different aspects of things. And then I would just gave her all these different headshots of what John Ware could look like. And then she just, oh, I like this style, or I like that style. And it was like, there was about 3, and then it's like she gravitated to the style that you're looking at now. And I said, okay, that's what I go with. And so now we're trying to keep everything within that look, right? But, my approach to the book was still, as much as it's a children's book, I still wanted to have a very dynamic and energetic feel. Like if you were reading like a comic graphic novel, you know what I'm saying? But still be simple enough that, the younger kids don't get overwhelmed with too much busyness, but still have some fun, energetic energy there that they go, wow, like it, things are popping out at them, That's just like the way I like to draw with things, with a lot of dynamic energy. So even with the approach with the children's book, I'm still always thinking about that dynamic energy, boom, and that's how I approached it, and that's the fun of it. Like, that's what the whole fun is, creating something new, a look, a feel, and putting it out there. That's what it's all about, right? So that's what I did. So.
And like any true artist, you're always pushing the envelope of your skill set. Now, you started out mainly as a designer, penciler, cartoonist, and you did some animation, but now you're also doing your own colors. How's that transition been?
Oh, it's amazing. I didn't know, from the day I didn't know Jack or Photoshop. Honestly, I was such a traditional head. I was like, man, I don't sit on the computer doing, I was such a traditional head, like, and for years and years and years and years and years and years and years, I was like, dang. But then, as the industry started to grow and stuff, and I was like, man, I better learn this. You know what I'm saying? Because, yeah, I was sending it out to get colored. And, you send something out and it's like, yeah, that's not bad. It's not quite, how I was looking, but, you kind of go, all right, you go back and forth. They're getting it. They're still not getting it. Okay, I kind of have to, like, yeah, that's cool. And you know what I'm saying? And it just became one of those things where I just said, well, you know what, you're going to have to learn this. You can't keep sending it out. That's also an income that you are losing. You know what I'm saying? And learning Photoshop and learning the approach of the industry standard to coloring now and stuff like that, it actually can change. It changes a lot of ways of when you're approaching your own page and what you want to see. What I loved about now with Photoshop is because I draw in the way of effects. I like effects, right? So there's a lot when you're doing your traditional pencil or whatever, and say you're doing your traditional pencil that you're going to go import into Photoshop, and there's certain things you're leaving out, knowing that, hey, okay, this is what I can do with that effect, with the color, without having these hard lines in or whatever, right? So there's a lot of different things that you can do, and it's now, I'm like, I just love it. It's phenomenal. It's pretty, Photoshop's amazing, and I still don't even know a quarter of what that system can do. It's like amazing, but it's amazing. I understand why it's industry standard. I understand. It's like, it's amazing. So,
and it's able to transform like pencils and take it into another level, another dimension that sometimes you as the artist don't even see. But now, since you are drawing and also doing the colors, you can map out what you want to do from the beginning.
Exactly. It's all now approach, right? It's now being able to take it from start to finish in that way, right from the beginning. When I'm conceptualizing, it's now in steps, knowing that, okay, if I draw it like this and I do this, and then I can color it like this and do this effect on that, and blah, 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 blah. And that's how I draw. Where before I didn't know, you know what I'm saying? I'm just drawing. And then I'm giving it to the guy and saying, okay, I want this kind of thing. And then it's like, oh, and he's trying to work around maybe some of the busyness of my lines, because I'm old school. So, we had to draw everything, back in the day. You remember back in the day, you had to draw everything. You had to draw your effects. You had to draw trees, had to be trees. You draw in space. You didn't make a circle and say, insert planet here and insert stars there. Oh, you had to and stars and make a planet look like a planet. So
yeah, most definitely. Yeah there were no gaps.
yeah
There were no gaps for sure.
Yeah.
and
yes,
and you're saying that, okay, so you consider yourself old school. Who are your influences? Like who can you see the DNA of in your work right now?
Oh, the DNA. Oh man, the DNA in my work, I guess would start right from Kirby and then go up. You know what I'm saying? Like Kirby, Ditko, especially in the younger days, those were like, Ditko Spider-Man for me is still right up there. You know what I'm saying? Kirby's just, his dynamic energy, it's like, his Fantastic Four, you know what I'm saying? Even his like later Captain America run was just like, oh, tight. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like Kirby just, that's the template, right? And then you have like the Buscema's, Sal and John, like, John Byrne stuff, but Sal and John Buscema, just like, those guys were just phenomenal. The Ramitas, Ross Andrew, you know what I'm saying? Like, but then, I have my anime influences too, like Masami Obari, Haruhito Mikimoto, Otomo, you know what I'm saying? Masamune Shiro, just, an eclectic amount of things. Chinese comics, like I read a lot of Jade Man comics too. So, I was big into Jade Man too. So I was reading, Iron Marshal and The Force of Buddha's Palm and Mega Dragon and Tiger. And like I was, you know what I'm saying? So honestly, boss, I have just an eclectic, just, range of, comic book influence. Ken Lashley, we have to give the props
Absolutely.
to Ken Lashley. We worked with Ken Lashley.
Absolutely.
Phenomenal. I learned a ton of stuff from Ken. You know what I'm saying? Comic book story, comic book rendering. Learned a lot of stuff working under Ken Lashley. You know, and you look at his stuff now, monster, absolute monster.
Yeah,
you know?
he's got a Thor cover coming out that is just dynamite. And his work on his work on Black Panther a few years ago was unbelievable.
No one touched that. And I honestly don't think no one can touch that, you know, afterwards. Like his work on that was so crazy. It was just like, dudes, man, you don't even know. But like, you know, like Claudio Castellini.
Oh yeah. Remember when he burst out in the 90s? And I remember when we first saw his stuff, it was like, what is going on? It was like an out of body experience. It was crazy.
This dude, you know, Claudio Castellini, you know, Neil Adams, always, you know.
Yes.
You know, Neil Adams. Right now, Ivan Reyes.
Yeah, he's the man.
Dude, he's another mutant, man. I don't know where he get his X power.
He's got an X gene for sure.
Yeah, he touch a page too, and it's just like X. You know what I'm saying? Like the video game, you know, just X before he touches the page, and then it's just like Berserker Barrage all over the page, guy. He's nasty with it. Like he's completely nasty with it. Like he's flawless, man. Like he's like them Neil Adams and the, you know, just do crazy flawless work already. You know, just like you just go, damn, like, you know, Buscema, you know what I'm saying? When you just look at the page, it's just like, there's nothing these dudes can't draw or like and draw well, you know? Yeah. Doesn't matter from like a teacup to a just amazing. But like, yeah, my influences range big, you know.
And what was the first comic that you can think of, or what was a seminal arc that made you go, you know what, I want to do this as a living?
Wow, there's so many comics. But I think one of the story that really just made me go, oh my God. Spider-Man, forgive me, the issue number of my brain right now, I'm tired, but you know, when he goes against the Master Planner, you know.
That might have been like 28 to 32 around there. Yeah.
And, you know, Man on Fire, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, he's caught under the rubble, you know, and, you know, the drip, and he's tons of, you know what I'm saying, debris over him. It's like, how am I ever going to get out of this, right? And it's just like the way the pacing and the way Ditko laid out that pacing, and, you know, in every panel, he's slightly lifting a little bit more, and he's talking to himself, and he's like, in my body has the power of many men, and he's just lifted, you know what I'm saying? And you like that for me was like seminal spot, like that was Spider-Man for me, you know what I'm saying? He was never the strongest character in the world, but he had, what was amazing about him is just his will, and he would figure it out, you know what I'm saying? Like, guys who are more powerful than this guy, if he touches me, I'm done, but I gotta figure it out. I still have to beat him. I still have to fight him. I still have to beat him, you know, constantly with doubts in his head about what he could do, but always overcoming. And then that one, it was just like those two issues. I mean, he was getting beat down. Like, you know what I'm saying? Every time, like, you remember that one? He finally lifts off the debris, and then the dome breaks and the water flushes in, and then he's, you know what I'm saying? He's like, I gotta let my body loose so I don't, you know what I'm saying? And then as he gets out of the water, there's Master Planner dudes there. You know what I'm saying? Hey, guy, we're gonna deal with you. And he's like, oh my God, I gotta fight these guys again. And then he's like actually taking hits to recover. You know what I'm saying? He's actually, I gotta just take some of this to recover, and then just beats them down. Like, I was just like, I don't know, man. That book, that issue for me, those issues for me, was just like, that made me go, oh man, comic books is the craziest. I love this, you know. But I probably would say would be that, you know, was the first where it really just made me go, man, this is what I, you know, this is what I gotta gravitate to. And in comics in general, you know, I mean, you look at any run from like Byrne and, you know, Romita Sr., Romita Jr., you know, yeah, just, you know, Sal and John. You know, one of my favorite issues of all time is Hulk 300. You know, Sal
Classic.
Buscema. I mean, yeah, Sal Buscema. Hulk gets banished, you know, but he's just fighting everybody. Complete rage monster. Just like I've read that. I've 4 copies of that book. You know what I'm saying?
One that's all dog-eared now because you've read it so much.
Yeah. Because I've read it to death. You know, no lines from it. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just like I've read it to death. It was one of my issues that was just like, oh my God. Can you know, it was 32 pages, you know.
Yeah. It was double-sized, I think.
Just ruckus. You remember? You know?
Yeah, like when Thor shows up, it's just amazing.
Yeah, Thor, that was like that was Marvel, one of those times when Marvel set that, Thor is our dude. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, Hulk's beating down everybody, you know, and Vision's telling people, you try this, you try that, you try that. Then Vision steps up and Hulk just deals with him, and then Thor just yells out, he's just like, enough. He said, enough, man. You know, I stood back waiting for the battle call, but you know, enough of this, man. It's not an Avenger you fight, it's Thor, God of Thunder. You know what I'm saying? And it was just ruckus after that, you know, and just some of the, like, Sal Buscema just like, he tore the oomph out of that book. Like, his Hulk run for me is still like the best. Like, you know, Savage Hulk, he's just the one, man, for me, you know? When it comes to drawing, he's just the one for me. That's just like how I like to see the Hulk, you know? And you know, you know those books that made you just go, man, I gotta do this. This is amazing, you know? This is a medium where you can just do so much with it, you know? It's an amazing medium. I love it. The perfect balance of written and visual, you know?
And I think too where comics has an advantage over things like film is where you can watch Star Wars, but if you don't have the imagination or the know-how of a George Lucas, it's hard to get your vision out there. You need a whole bunch of people to help you get that vision made. But as a comic book creator, if you're lucky enough to have the skill set to be able to write and draw, then, you know, just the team to get it done is smaller, right? It's kind of like the Fantastic Four versus, you know, the Avengers or Legion of Superheroes kind of thing, where the Legion might be what you would use as a movie crew as an example. But you can get all of your ideas out onto paper, both with word and with form, and it's just you. It's so much easier.
Just depending on how much of the medium you're going to invest yourself into, you can be the writer, artist, inker, colorist. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can wear all hats if you want to on this, just depending on how much of it that you know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
You want to do. You can create your team and do it, or you can say, hey man, I do it all by myself. You know what I'm saying? Like, write the story. It's an amazing medium. It really is. It's an amazing medium. What other medium really can you get that? You know what I'm saying? Where you can just do it all like that, you know? And the great thing about comic books too is where film, you might have this one shot or, you know, a couple episodes on the thing. You know, you can make a series run as long as you want. If you have the fan base there, it can run as long as you want. As long as you have the stories, it can run, you know? And if you have the fan base backing, say, give me more, give me more, give me more. Like, it can go, you know, Japan, look at Dragon Ball. Look at Dragon Ball. Like, Dragon Ball, they keep paying that guy to write money. Oh, man, Dragon Ball's done. Dragon Ball was supposed to be done how long ago? No, man, they keep, no, you got to write more. You got to do more Dragon Ball. Like, damn, like, really? Like, Dragon Ball is like, it's crazy. But as long as you can create some kind of story with it, boom, it can last forever. You know what I'm saying? And that was a hit manga series and become animation, and it's just crazy. Now all the markets, cross markets. So think about comic books now. You got to think about video games. You got to think about animation. You even got to think, hey, maybe live action. You know what I'm saying? Like there's it cross pollinates now. You know what I'm saying? It's amazing.
And it's
So when you
crazy. Sorry, but it's also crazy how
no,
when you look at Netflix,
mm-hmm.
you don't realize how many series,
is
comic books,
yeah,
or,
comic
or
books.
graphic novels, if you want to use
Yes,
the that term.
that
But
last one with Charlize Theron.
yeah,
That one with
absolutely.
Netflix is a series. Those comic series. There it goes again. And you just
Hmm.
sitting there going through.
The last two,
Red with Bruce Willis and all of that kind of stuff. That was
Atomic Blonde, if I'm not mistaken, was
yeah.
also. So, that's where they're going now to get the
That's where they're
ideas.
picking it up. They're not even, and that's the thing. It's not even mainstream that they're going
No.
after. They're going after like the independents and saying, "Oh, this is an interesting concept." You know what I'm saying? Here, let's put that out there. And there's a lot of guys that are out there. They're like, I'm not trying to be working for Marvel or DC. I got my idea and I'm going to put it out there. And I've been on the circuit and seen some phenomenal guys. I mean, hey, people say, "Oh, Hugh, you're great." I'm all right. I've seen some phenomenal guys that are doing stuff that you just go. And it's like, you're not working for Marvel now? No, I don't. I like doing my own thing. And they're doing their own thing and they got their following and they're doing great. So this is one of those mediums where, it's just about your will and, determination to put your stuff out there, and understanding the business and understanding what it is that you're trying to do mainly, because, there's a certain comfort when you're working for a company, you got that coming, every month, whatever. And then there's freelance where you're just like on your, and you just gotta, make that money every time. Once a job's done, you gotta find something else. So, if you want to be a comic book artist as a profession, it's one thing. If you want to do it as a hobby, it's another thing. You just got to figure out what it is that you want to do, and then approach it the right way on with what you're trying to do exactly. You know what I'm saying? So, but still, I love it. I never gotten enough. Never can ever get enough of it.
And speaking of, since you went the independent route, is that something that you have percolating down the line, where your own IPs?
Oh yeah, definitely. Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, yeah, we can't announce anything yet, but yeah, definitely down the line. Sooner than soon as possible. A lot of times, a lot of the last how many years for myself was just establishing myself as a freelancer and getting people to see what I can do and, establishing myself like that. I have family to support and all kind of things. I tried to release a book before, and there was a lot of stuff that goes into it, and a lot of stuff that I didn't realize, and a lot of stuff that you got to be like, okay, you know what I'm saying? You got to really be about it, and even if you have a team, you still, if it's your baby and it's your thing, you got to be about it. You know what I'm saying? And you got to be on it. And business, one thing about this thing, and in any approach, one thing about this thing, there's the love of it, right? Our fan love of things. That's one thing, but then there's business. And a lot of guys fall short because they don't understand business and the understanding the business of this thing. And people, I'll tell you one thing. All people care about is if you say it's coming out this time, you better have it coming out that time, especially as an independent. They will give you that's one thing that will kill an independent. You coming out and then you're just lofty with your timing, with your books. You're not consistent with bringing them out on time and getting it done on time. People will just be like, nope. You know what I'm saying? Because they know through Marvel and DC and stuff, they're going to get the consistency. Image, they're going to get the consistency. Dark Horse, they're going to, you know what I'm saying? They're going to get those. But if you're going to get somebody to take a chance on you, I don't know you, but you have an interesting idea. You say it's going to be a monthly series? Yeah, okay, then it better be a monthly series, and you better produce, right? So there's a lot that goes into this game that if you want to go down that route, you better understand that that commitment is big. You know, you're trying to create your world, and your world only grows from your own ideas when other people start to pick it up and read it. Then they become immersed in your world, right? Other than that, it's just your story, yourself. But if you're releasing it now to people, then you want people to be immersed in that world, then you have to keep feeding them, right? And once you fed them once, and they're like, okay, I want more, and then after a while you don't feed them, they say, well, I can't go here to get fed, so I'm going to go somewhere else, right? That's what they do. So it's like, my thing to independence is like, you know, sit your ass down and draw 3 books. You know, sit your ass down and draw 3 books. I'll say straight up, draw 3 issues before you even release the first. Or, you know what I'm saying? Don't even talk nothing about the first until you know you have 2 books done. At least 2 books. I'd say even do 3, just so you have that staggered, you know. If something came up, at least you have a nice cushion. But I mean, draw 3 books, get 3 books out there, and then really start promoting the hell out of your first one, and you know, go to town. The social media thing is very, very important. You know, I'm not great at that. I've always been a kind of sort of, you know, death of a salesman, you know, hitting the road, you know what I'm saying, with the littlest hobo music playing behind us. There's the song calling me. You know what I'm saying? And hit shows. So I've driven all over Canada, you know, I've driven to the States, you know what I'm saying? I've been hoboed that way, you know, I would pick up and go to shows, and that's how I made my connections with people. But now things are changed, and it's a whole new thing. And it's something I have to learn, you know? It's a whole new dynamics now, you know? And if one thing COVID has done, it's slowed things down. Where people, if you're really about it, you can take stock and take a few minutes and just kind of go, where do I really want to go now? You know, you can be that person who sits down and, oh, the COVID, and not be about it and come out of this in the same place or worse. Or you could be like, yo, this thing, you know, I can take a minute and really look at where I want to go and really start to prepare for that. If you don't know something, go learn it. Now's the time. It's not as crazy for you right now. Now's the time. Go learn it. You know, if you don't know Photoshop, start messing with it. You don't know Clip Studio, start messing with it. You know, you don't know this, start messing with it. You want to get better at drawing? Well, hey, pop up some stuff and start practicing. You know, you have a concept, start writing it. You know, it's like, if anything I say, especially for us as creatives, I said, this has been one of the best in that way of just slowing things down and giving you a moment to take stock. And then if you're using your time wisely, you should come out of this like a champ. But if you're just sitting down and you're not doing nothing, just playing video games and just think, you know, I have nothing for you at the end of this. And if you popping up and you're like, why this and why not that? And it's like, well, what were you doing all this time? You know what I'm saying? What were you doing?
I totally agree with you.
The world don't care.
I totally agree with you. The world doesn't care, and time waits for nobody, right?
The world don't care, and time don't care. The world does not care.
No. And so this is the time that if you have the opportunity to, okay, everyone has to, you know, pay their bills, but this is a golden opportunity to get your stuff ready. That so when things start up again, because they will, maybe not tomorrow, maybe not 6 months from now, but when they do, you can then drop something and say, we're here, as opposed to being at the planning stage. Again, you're ready to hit the ground running.
Of course. Definitely. My game, since you know me, my game has never been the short game. You know, even before I moved down here, you knew me. I established certain things in play, knowing that it wasn't going to see fruition for like another 2 years, 3 years. I knew that. But I knew if I set the foundation down now, when the time came, I'd be nice. And when COVID hit, it was funny because everything that I had laid down 2 years prior, 3 years prior, popped up and started to think, and I was like, oh, there I am. Do 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 do. You know what I'm saying? Where some was like dead stop. Oh no, what am I gonna do? I still had some stuff because I put certain things in the ether. You know what I'm saying? Some things is, I understand the whole everything about paying bills. I do. I understand it completely. I'm a freelance. I know exactly what you're talking about. You know, I know about the sleepless nights. I know about going up, you know, have to stay up all night and get stuff done. I know all about that. I got 2 kids. I still got to support my kids. They're young. They're not old. They're young. You know, they want daddy's time. I understand all of that. But you have to ask yourself, what do you want to do? And what are you willing to sacrifice? And because everything's a sacrifice, you know, everything is work. Everything is work. Nothing is just easy. There it is. Everything is work. Relationships are work. Everything is work. And you just have to ask yourself, how much work are you willing to put in to get to what you need to get to? That's really what it boils down to. I've had to try to achieve all of what I achieved through a lot of drama. Through a lot of drama, where there was stuff that, man, rocked me so hard, I thought I would never pick up a pencil. I said, how am I going to pick up and continue to do this when I saw my whole world crumbling? And then I looked at my kids and I just said, nah, man, why do you do what you do for? I had to remind myself, what do what I do for? And I remember my kids, and I looked up my kids' eyes and I said, that's why I do. Because how am I supposed to tell them they can achieve anything they want to if I don't? You know what I'm saying? That's always on my mind. How can I tell them that? How can I grow them? How can I get them strong and willing to fight if when I'm taking hits, I'm ready to give up? I said, nah, man. So I take my hits. I'm just like, whatever, man. I just roll with it. I don't, you know, I'm not worried about the chat rooms. I'm not worried about any of that stuff, man. I just do me. Whoever likes me. Who doesn't. I'm not worried about it, you know. Just try to do the best me that I can be. That's it. You know, never satisfy, always stay hungry. That's how I am. I never satisfy. You know, we talk about this all the time. You draw a picture, I'll draw a picture. I like it for about 5 minutes. And then all I'm seeing is flaws. You know what I'm saying? I can't satisfy with a picture. You know, and I'm going to make this statement right now. I don't know how people can think they're so nice with Instagram out there. You know what I'm saying?
That is the most humbling experience. You think that you're good.
How can you think you're nice?
Wow. Yeah. So
you
true.
know, I'm just like, as nice as people think I am, I'm like, man, let me tell you, there are monsters out there.
Yeah.
It's like Instagram is like where the wild things are. It's like serious like that. You know what I'm saying? Instagram's like where the wild things are. It's like where the wild things are. It's like where the wild things are, guys. It's like there are, like, you watch that guy Kim Jong, that the Korean.
Yeah, that guy. He's
not of this Master Kim Jong.
He's not of this earth. He is unbelievable. Like, that is just talent oozing everywhere.
Dude. God, that's
one of them guys, man. He's one of them guys.
That's X-Men. That's X-Men. Like, I don't care. I know he's teaching classes and all that. People think, yeah, I'm going to draw like him. I said, dude, you're never going to draw like him. He's going to make you great. He's going to make you great. Don't get me wrong, but trust me, that's an X gene. That's a savant.
Yeah,
he's tapping from places that is like, not the common man can tap from. And let me tell you, me and you know first, and I've worked with some. My life drawing teacher was like, is still, phenomenal. My life drawing teacher, just like, oh my God, I was like, and even he with this guy is like, he was like, this guy is, you know what I'm saying? And my life drawing teacher was a medical illustrator. Okay, so he had to draw the human, that a doctor could be able to look at his illustration, and that's where the liver is performing. That's how they had to graduate. Their illustration, they go on the cadaver, the people go on the cadaver and say, oh, you're saying that the liver's there? Cut open, okay, there. You know what I'm saying? Exactly. how the veins run in your body, nervous system, the whole nine. You had to know how to draw all of that. Phenomenal. It was phenomenal. Phenomenal. He could sit there and just look at your drawing and like, nah, man, it's off. You're like, what do you mean? It looks right. And then he put a piece of blank paper over top and draw over your drawing. You're like, ooh, ooh, ooh. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you just be like, ooh, ooh, ooh. This is just like, wow.
Yoda with a pencil, right?
Yeah, man. Like, he's probably still to this day one of my greatest inspirations when it comes to stuff. Like, I'm like, I haven't seen him in like such a long time. I mean, we're on Facebook and stuff like that, but he would go over my stuff and just destroy me. Just like, what is this? What is that? No collarbone looks like that. You know what I'm saying? Because, we draw comic books, right? So everything is exaggerated. I do a lot of dynamic exaggeration when I draw. You know what I'm saying? Because we draw comic books. I'm not trying to make it look exactly like, what is existing, in real life. I like to push that envelope, and just do a lot of dynamic stuff. But, he was a man that was just like, wow, a beast. So, yeah, but, I wish all you guys could have studied with him. He was amazing. But like, yeah, man, Instagram is where the wild things are, guy. I don't even understand how people think they're nice. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's so humbling. It's so humbling that it's beautiful. It's beautiful. It's scary, and it's beautiful, and it's humbling, and it's maddening. It's all of that. You know what I'm saying? Because you sit down and you're just like, damn, how does that guy do that? Like, you know what I'm saying? And you ask yourself, man, should I really be doing this? Like, sometimes I'm like, I can't look at Instagram too long because I might have to retire the pencil. You know what I'm saying? Because there's just some young girl right now in her basement, and who knows, Poland or something. And she doesn't even go to school for art, but she's just painting these scenes that you're like going, you know what I'm saying? And she didn't have, oh no, I don't have no formal training. I just like to paint. Blah, blah, blah. And she just murdering it with the brush. And you're just like, man, I can't paint like that,
Because you can't even see it. Like, the way that she sees is not how you see.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Right?
And that's the beautiful thing that's what I love about conventions. That's what I miss about conventions, is the perceptions. I mean, it's the no matter how many conventions I've done through how many years, you still find people who perceive things in a different, and you go, wow, man. Like, Spider-Man is probably one of the most drawn out characters ever. You know what I'm saying? One of the most drawn out characters ever. But still, we can look at, go to a show and you see people's interpretation of it, and you're like, damn, that's interesting what you did.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, yeah, it's pretty phenomenal. That's what I miss about the conventions.
Yeah, Artist Alley is kind of like Instagram, but in real life. Like, it's crazy. You can go down some aisles and you're like, how is that even possible? That person is amazing, and they're unknown.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah. And we've seen the conventions from back when they were like in hotels. You know what I'm saying? We're from that stock, back when it was at the hotel. You know what I'm saying? The Holiday Inn in this conference.
Remember those days?
Yeah. So, I've seen it all to what it is from the start. You know what I'm saying? The early days, and but the Artist Alley has grown to just such a big expense, and you're just watching people doing it, interpretations of stuff, and doing things in a medium that you wouldn't have think of you doing stuff. And it's amazing, and it's good because it just, if you're humble, it keeps you going, it fuels you, and if you're humble and you don't think you're all that, and you can look and learn, and you have that learning mentality, you can go and find inspiration from everybody. You know what I'm saying? In the show, you just be like, man, look at the way the guy did. He did that with dots. That's crazy. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's just, it's like you said, man, it's phenomenal. Instagram, But I'm telling you, Wild Things, man. That's where the Wild Things. Instagram, for sure. Wild Things, that guy. Trust me.
Now, I wanna roll back to your covers.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
What's your thought process when you create a cover? What goes through your mind in terms of getting what you think the creators are going to want?
I need to get a gist of the story. I need to get the gist of the story. I honestly do. I'll be honest, and people want to hate me for saying it, but I don't care. I want to say it. I hate pinup, like, shots on the cover. Just, standing. Just like I hate that. It just feels to me like such a waste. Like, we came up with, like, the cover told the story. You know what I'm saying? It told the story of what was going on inside, And one of the things I was always taught, and that was from my life drawing teacher and others was like my layout teachers and all that kind of stuff. And they would say, look, you only have one shot to tell your story. What are you going to say? So for me, the composition is about what am I revealing with this shot? What am I trying to say with this story? What is the story you're getting behind what you see in the shot that I'm doing? Because if I'm not doing that, then I'm just drawing things arbitrarily. I don't like that. I don't want to draw things arbitrarily. I want it to connect. I only have the cover. I don't have the interior. I have the cover, so I want it to read something. You know what I'm saying? I want people to read that cover, see that cover, and it reads to them. Oh, look at that. It's look how he made the demon do the blah and blah blah blah, and it's attacking the girl, and she's reacting this way and blah blah blah. You know what I'm saying? You want that interaction with the story. That's why when I just see like a little pinup, sometimes I just go, really? Like, you had your chance to say something, and the most you could do was the swimsuit girl shot. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's just me. Like, that's just me. I just feel like, when you have a chance to tell a story with the cover, there's your shot, right? So for me, my process is always, what's the story? I want to get a gist of the story. What's the story? What's the story about? So whenever it's like, Hugh, what, can you do the cover? So with say Dead Day #1, I was like, okay, well, it's #1, but what's the story about? Okay, it's this, that. And so I'm looking, I got an advance of looking at the first issue, and I'm looking for elements in the story that I go, oh, this, what would help me to create an element that's going to lead you into that part of the story, And so what I would do is just break down my thumbnails, do different thumbnails, and say, okay, let's see what sticks, So you just throw different, I'm looking at characters, and this character likes that character, and they ride that bike. Okay, what can I do composition-wise for that? Because that bike has machine guns on it, and it's part of killing whatever. You know what I'm saying? Whatever. And then I do. And so I just throw a whole bunch of elements, and then they look at it and they go, oh, okay, well, you know what? We like this one here, And so I said, okay, that's the one you like. I say, let me do a few more thumbnails now, refining that image, that concept that you like, into more of a, cover image. You know what I'm saying? And then once they like, yeah, that's the shot, then I just go to town and do my thing, But that's usually how I approach it. I'm very much, what's the story? What's the story? I just drawing something without it. It makes no sense to me. When I see a cover, someone's drawn a cover, and then I'm reading the story, I'm like, that cover has nothing to do, like nothing to do with what's going on inside. It's just dude or do that. You know what I'm saying? It has nothing to do with what's going on inside. And you're just going, how did this get a pass? Like, we couldn't even get, like, the things that get passes now that we were growing up with, like, we wouldn't get no passes on that. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. It's just different.
It's interesting you say that, because, with all the artist editions out and a lot of the old masters are showing their sketchbooks, you'll sometimes see covers that the issue. and you saw what was rejected, right?
Yeah.
And you're like, man, that's still a great cover. That would have made a great cover. But I think just like every medium, it is changed, right?
Yeah.
So it's almost like a cover is like a movie poster now,
Mm-hmm.
as opposed to a seminal moment in
Mm-hmm.
the story that makes you want to pick that up off the stands. I'll give you a perfect example. Spider-Man is my favorite character.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, I'm not sure what issue it is. It might be like in the 150s, maybe 157 or something like that. And it's a Ramita cover, and he's in the sewers, and the water is beating down on his back.
Yes.
And this is back in the day when they still had like, word balloons on it.
Mm-hmm.
And as a kid, that was like, man, he's mad at somebody. I got to pick that up. The water, the lighting,
he's
everything.
In the sewer. Yeah.
And then, you read the story and you realize why he's in the sewer. And so that caught me. But if it was just another picture of him standing there,
yeah,
or swinging, and it had no relation to what's going in to the actual narrative, it wouldn't have had the same impact for me.
Yeah. It's like you said, it's definitely different, but that's because a lot of it is fast now. Everything's fast. Turnaround of a book is faster. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just like now, especially with like the Photoshop and stuff like that, it's like, okay, you don't need to draw with as much detail as what the guys were doing, like the Burns and the Bushimas and the Ramitas and the, everybody, because it's like, okay, that can be done in the color process. That can be, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, now books are being turned around. I think turned over like every 2 weeks now. Like, you know what I'm saying? I think I don't even think guys are on runs longer than 6. Like, they'll do an issue, they stagger issues. So one guy will be drawn and then another guy, and they'll be staggering issues and stuff like that. So I mean, it's you remember like you have a burn run and it'd be like 50 books. Like, you know what I'm saying? Or you know what I'm saying? Or
I think Sal did like almost 80 books. I think he did like Hulk. May have come on at like 205 or something.
Yeah.
And then he left at 300 or just after it.
And you remember Sal was on like Spider-Man for a long time too.
Yeah, he was so fast.
Yeah, he was doing, you know what I'm saying? But just the stuff now to turn around, you know what I'm saying? You don't have to draw as much, because there's other elements now that can be done to, you know what I'm saying? Like these guys we're talking about, like the Kansas, these are all hardcore illustrators from back in the days. Like, you know what I'm saying? You just, everything is, traditional ink and brush and white ink and pencil, like, you know what I'm saying? And, you made a mistake, it was a big deal. You have to take the brush and white out the whole section. Like, it was a big deal. There's no click, delete and, you know what I'm saying? Cut and delete, right? There's none of that. So, I mean, it was just a different beast back in the days. And you just had to draw everything. So, when you wanted to create something fantastical, you really had to, delve deep to create like how your pencil stroke, your brush stroke, even the inker penciling, even the inker working over the penciler's lines is like, this is what I'm trying to get with the effect. So you have to try now to make your brush strokes get that effect off. You understand what I'm saying? Like it was really, doing this process of comic books, honestly, and seeing the process over I have a whole bunch of respect for each level, each part of it. It's like, you know what I'm saying? Like we've seen when an inker just garbages, a penciler's
when they don't understand either through time or they just don't understand the line work.
Yeah, they don't understand the line work. They don't understand the line, and they just let me just put some ink over the line, and it's like, no, like there's a line weight going on. You need to reproduce that. It's a feel, So we've seen that, and then we've seen like what phenomenal inking does to just even make a person's pencils look like 10 times
that much
more amazing.
Yeah,
So I mean, I have such a respect for all the processes You know what I'm saying? That goes into doing this, you know, having to have to do certain things myself, right? So, but yeah, it's like you said, it's just different now. It really is different, like a different approach. And it's just like, okay, you know, and I think that's where there's a lot of guys when they're coming out and doing independent stuff too, is just like, I have my story, I have my thing, and this is how I want to do it and tell it. You know what I'm saying? And it's just this kind of, this is how I want to do it. And I don't want anyone telling me how to do it. This is my thing, and this is how I want to do it. And that's the great thing about it, you know? You know, there's certain foundations to storytelling and obviously to technical things for where you want to lead the eye and stuff like that. But I've seen people who draw some of the simplest stuff, but their storytelling is so on time. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
They're not rendering everything. They're not like, but their storytelling is beautiful. Their camera angles are beautiful. And they're doing some of the simplest drawings, but they, you know, they're tight with it. You know, they're technically tight with it, you know? So, you know, it just says to you that it's, yeah, there's a certain level that you want to get and achieve in the understanding of the foundation of everything, your drawing and storytelling and stuff like that. But in the end, your story is your story. Go tell your story. Who's to tell you that your story is wrong? And that's the whole point. For the 10 people who find it wrong, there's going to be 10 people who find it right. You know what I'm saying? And just, you know, a lot of people who will still be like, no, I like what you're doing, and there it is. I've had people coming to me, oh, I don't like your drawings. And I'm right at my table, just talking ish. You know what I'm saying? Like disrespectful. I don't like your stuff. Look at this. I don't like this. You know, you just sit there and go, wow, bro, you ain't even gonna try to hide it. You just gonna just come and just talk some ish at my table. Like you don't even know, right? You know what kind of dude I am, but you still gonna talk that ish. Okay, whatever. You know what I'm saying? But then you're gonna have some people who come and they just look at your stuff and just blown away and have to have it. And have to have it on their wall. And so, you know, trying to cater to a particular thing is a fool's illusion. You know what I'm saying? If you think you're going to be loved by everybody, you're chasing the dragon's tail, man. Like, your goal shouldn't be trying to appease everybody. Your goal should only be about you telling the best story that you can tell, your story, and doing it the best that you can. And anyone who's going to love it, who don't, oh, you know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. As long as it has heart and
That's
you
it.
know it has an opportunity to connect, then you're in the right direction.
Definitely. And that's the great thing about this medium. You know, if you're a writer and you're respectful and honest and true to the illustrator and vice versa, and you guys create a respectful, symbiotic relationship, you can put out something that is phenomenal. And it will move you like any television show. It will move you like any 2.5 hour movie. You know what I'm saying? Like the first time you read like a Watchmen, or the first time you read Dark Knight Returns. You know what I'm saying? The first time you read the Phoenix Saga. You know what I'm saying? Back in the day. The first time you read Secret Wars. You know what I'm saying? And how it just, oh my God, like, you know what I'm saying? It just moved you. Because when it's done right, you know what I'm saying? You can sit there and be just immersed and transported as good as any novel and as good as any movie. That's why I love comic books. I think it's phenomenal. A phenomenal medium. Definitely.
For sure. And with that, Hugh, I'm going to thank you for a wonderful little chat we had, for helping to kick off Comix Asylum's inaugural podcast. You're more than welcome, sir, but I have to give the thanks to you. And you're doing awesome stuff, and looking forward to more in the future, my friend.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you, everybody. Steve rocks. Comix Asylum rocks. I'm going to put it out there too. You want to check out my site, you know, www.chozenstudios.com. That's CHOZEN studios.com. You can also find me at Facebook, Chozen Studios. And
don't forget Instagram.
Also Instagram, Chozen Studios, or Instagram, Hugh Rookwood Art. So that's HUGHROOKWOODART, you know. And yeah, catching me on all those different mediums.
All right, fantastic. Enjoy the rest of 2020, my friend, and we'll catch up soon.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much for your time.
All right, take care.
All right, peace. All right, take care, people.
Thanks for listening, everyone. And once again, a special thank you to Hugh Rookwood. We look forward to your comments, so reach out to us on Facebook and at Comix Asylum on Instagram and Twitter.